Just do it now. Get it over with.
Do it now, get it over with. Do you know who's going next week? So for the end.
Yes.
Russell's going?
I think so.
Okay, we can ask Soren to tell us the name of Russell's business. Can you hear us? Do we look good? Sound good?
Oh.
Cool. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started today. So welcome to 1 Million Cups. First, we're going to start with a couple announcements about EntreFest. The last date to register for the $199 price is February 28th. So if you plan to go to EntreFest, do it before the end of the month. Greg, you still have to pay to go. You don't get in for free. And then they want us to announce that the next keynote speaker is Trevor Owens, who's the author of The Lean Enterprise, and he's a corporate innovator. So if that's exciting for you. This morning we've got Alyssa Nolte, and she's going to be talking about Digiteam. So let's welcome Alyssa to 1 Million Cups.
Thanks, Josh. Great, thank you for having me. I just want to preface with this is a total concept and no work has been done on it whatsoever. So I'm looking forward to great feedback, great comments, and some direction. The first thing that I want you to be mulling, this is just a name that I pulled out of the air because I felt like I had to have a name for it. So if you have a better name by the end of this presentation, please share. I'm not married to this whatsoever. Okay, so first of all, some of my background. Ooh, too far. I'm wrapping up my 4th season, going into my 5th season as the Cedar Falls High School dance coach. And I've been a general member of the ISCTA, which is our statewide dance team association, for the last 4 seasons. And I'm on track to be a board member next year. The ISCTA is the largest dance team association in the country. I did 17 years as a competitive studio dancer, and I have 4 years as a high school dance team member. So dance has been my life for a really long time. The picture on the right is actually a picture of my team from our state competition this year. And I have 21 girls on my team and 35 boys. So I have a lot of people on my team and a lot of students that I'm responsible for. I like this picture because we did really well at state this year, so I'm going to show off the hardware for a minute. So the problem that we're facing right now is there's a lot of pressure coming from school administration and pending legislation and scandals in the media to change how coaches communicate with students. So at our coaching meeting this year in the fall, the AD was like, okay, who here texts their students? Almost everyone raises their hand. Who here uses Facebook or Twitter to communicate with their students? About half of the people in the room raised their hand. And he goes, well, that's got to stop. You can't text your students. You can't connect with them on social media in any way. And if you email them, you have to CC me in the email. Well, with 21 girls and 35 boys plus all of their parents, that's a lot of emails for my AD to get, and he doesn't really want that, if he's even opening them. It's also hard because there's a lot of scandals in the media, a lot of situations where coaches and students and people of authority have been engaging in inappropriate relationships. And so because of those scandals, there's a lot of legislation coming down. Next year, there will be some legislation that completely restricts the communication between coaches and students or teachers and students outside of an in-person or classroom practice setting. So, for example, we had that superstorm on Monday where we're having feet of snow, and if we had practice, I would have no way of letting the girls know that we were canceled for weather because I can't communicate with them in any other form except in person. So there's also channel conflicts. Right now we have like a Facebook group that they can be in, and I have some parents in there, so that's how I get around the communication rule for now. But the problem is that those teenage girls do not check Facebook anymore. I have to tell them to check their Facebooks in order for them to check their Facebook. They just don't do it. And then we have a school website where we have our calendar and we have all that good stuff, but once again, no one checks it. So that's a problem. So my idea, my girls are glued to their phones. We get a water break, check my phone, check my snaps, figure out what my friends are doing on Twitter. And I thought a centralized and personalized app with push notifications would be the perfect solution to communicate with the kids in a way that they will actually connect with. Some things that I would hope that I could make the app do would be like push out announcements, practice is canceled, or wear this to the game tonight. Like a practice and performance calendar so they know where they're supposed to be and when. Like a chat and social wall feature so they could post something to their friends like dance team bonfire tonight, everyone's welcome. Music download for like practice music, practice videos. I'll take videos of practice and I'll upload them to YouTube, and right now I email out the link. And then a big one for me is statements and billing. We spend a lot of money to be on dance team. It's very expensive. It's about $600 a year. A lot of that money comes through my personal credit card, and then the school reimburses me, and the girls reimburse the school. So a lot of times I have girls who are like, I don't know how much I owe, or parents who are like, my daughter never gave me the bill. So if we could have it all in one place, that would be super. The proposed model is a free app for students and parents, and then a freemium model, free with relevant ads, and then a subscription if they want to get rid of the ads for coaches or schools, so about $240 a year per team. Our market, we would be targeting coaches and actual teams and not schools. If anyone's ever tried to work with school administrations, it's very difficult. They are very busy. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to spend any time with you whatsoever. They need those coaches to buy into something before they're ever going to consider anything like this. So we would go after high school sports teams. There's over 500 high schools in Iowa between the secondary and public and parochial schools, and there's 37,000 high schools in the U.S., and that was as of 2001. That's the earliest statistic I could find, or the latest statistic I could find. So there's a lot of high schools out there, but this would also work for anyone who works with kids, people who work in gymnastics or dance studios, Little League, and anything like that. Anytime you're working with kids, this legislation is going to affect you. So competitors, sorry, that is very small. There's two main competitors that I consider. One is called Huddle, and their main purpose is for game film. So that's really all they do, and they're also very expensive. It's $800 a year for one team, and that only gets you 10 hours of video. So that's not, that's a lot of money. As a point of comparison, as a coach, I make $1,000 a year. So that eats up 80% of my coaching salary, and you can bet that the school's not going to pay for that. It's going to come out of either my pocket or my budget. And that's for 10 hours of video. And that's not a lot when you're an 11-month sport. And if you're looking at this, when you go up to the gold package, they add text messaging, and that's it. So you pay, quite a bit more, $500 more to text message. Plus, its interface on like a phone is very poor. It's meant to be a web portal. And once again, kids aren't going to check it unless you tell them to do. Well, how are you going to tell them to do it unless they're checking it? So it's kind of that awkward chicken and egg situation. There's another one called Remind, and basically it's just mass texting, but it's one-way communication. So I can blast a message to all of you, but you can't respond to it in any way. So I send a message to you guys, and Patrick wants to ask me a question about something, like, oh, where's the bus going to be? And I didn't put that in my message. He has no way of communicating back to me that he has a question. Or if, he's sick and he's not going to be there. So that's very frustrating. What usually ends up happening is I send out a mass message, and then they just text me back on my personal number anyway, which they're not supposed to do. It is free, but it's pretty limited. There's a lot of other people who do the exact same thing. Couple hurdles. I'm not an app developer. I have no idea what I'm doing with that. I've been telling people I have this idea, but I have no idea how to actually execute it. Coaching salaries, I told you I make $1,000 a year doing this, and it's basically like subsidized volunteerism. And school budgets, they're not going to shell out a lot of money to do something like this. Another issue is tech savviness of coaches. Whatever this is needs to be really, really easy, because my co-coach, who's been doing this for 38 years and I'm training to take over for her, had just learned how to open email on her phone that she's had for 3 years. So, for her, an app is like a whole new world, and that's about the age of most coaches right now as they're starting to retire. And then there's other competitors like I showed you before. Okay, that's all I have. I'm ready for ideas and thoughts. Yes?
Come talk to me about the one that's coming out of the University of Iowa Student Business Incubator.
Oh, someone's doing something like this? Cool.
So let's have a whole conversation and figure out where you're fitting as opposed to where they're going.
Awesome. Yes.
Is that federal legislation or state legislation?
It's going to be federal legislation. So everyone's life is going to get turned upside down when they deal with kids.
I would, with that in mind, your social aspect,
Mhm.
the social wall, social chat, you need to drop that. That's the risk they're trying to eliminate, is any semblance of a social
Mhm.
communication tool, things like that, needs to be explicitly for coaches to tell students or tell team members things, or simply for team members to say, I'm not gonna be practiced, things like that. The whole social between the team members
Okay.
is the risk you need to eliminate.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I've seen the law already.
In terms of legislation, the rule in that they want you to be able to produce records of that.
It's not a trail thing.
Right, they want a paper trail. So I can delete a text message, I can't record a phone call, I can delete an email. They want to be able to access that information at the drop of a hat. So I guess I should have said that. The information will be saved and available for
That's
download.
my next question today. Is there a database where every interaction gets saved?
That would be the goal, because the whole point is to make sure that communication is monitored and I'm not like hitting on a 17-year-old student. Does that make sense? Okay.
Right. Have you looked into like Salesforce's chatter feature or Yammer?
I have, and I've looked at all those chatting features, but there's so much that goes on that I need to share more than just text.
Okay.
Like, a calendar so they know where they're supposed to be, or like sending out practice videos, because I take a practice video almost every practice, and we practice 3 to 5 times a week. So the only way for me to get those videos to them right now is to email it, and they don't want me doing that.
I think with the chatter feature, I've used it before. Like you can upload videos and text and calendars and notifications like that. It might be, I don't know if like you downloaded it or you delved into it really deep. But
Yeah.
it sounds very similar and just put a little spin on it.
Yeah, I should check that
I
out.
love the idea. I think it's really, really cool.
I think with the legislation, it's gonna be necessary, or
It's
something.
Like my mom's a first grade teacher and she has kids that are texting.
Yeah.
every day.
I know kids.
They're 7 years old.
I know kids that have iPhones and they're like 6. So
Yeah.
Do you, with the need for archiving for the permanent, I suppose permanent, at least semi-permanent data, does that conflict with the need for the federal student privacy laws, since these are students, have that encrypted permanently, stuff like that, as far as how it's stored long-term? And is that worth checking into so that you build it with that in mind? In other
I think
words,
that's
there's another
absolutely-
federal law that may be conflicting with this federal law.
Right.
Down the road.
I think that's absolutely something we need to look into, because as part of this, I think we want to make sure that we're building it to appease those federal laws. With 37,000 high schools in the United States and all of the parochial schools, all Catholic schools, I've already had this implemented by their, I think bishop is the word I'm looking for. Diocese, yes, thank you. They already had this implemented. They're already trying to find workarounds, and I know lots of Catholic school coaches who have no idea how to communicate with their students now. So, and those poor ADs are just getting like flooded with emails. So,
Is the point of sale feature in there, is that something that was just like you thought about the communication first and you're like, oh, man, this would be a nice add-on feature? So is communication going to be the core and then point of sale is secondary?
I think, what do you mean by point of sale?
So you mentioned like making payments on there or seeing people's account balances and things like that.
That was just like a, hey, that'd be a cool feature, but it's
Okay.
not like, it's not super necessary. It's just billing is like my biggest headache. So if I could find a way to make that easier, that'd be super. But for me, it's like, I'm thinking of all the things we do in our Facebook group now. So I send out a message about, what costume we're wearing for the game, or I send out a, hey, the bus is leaving in 5 minutes, mass text message with that remind feature. And I think communication and like sharing practice information. So like a football team could put game film on there. We put practice film on there, so like routines that they need to practice and make sure they're doing the choreography correctly. I think that there's a lot of applications across the sports that I'm probably not thinking of because I'm so narrowly focused on dance team, but I think that other sports could benefit from similar features.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, have you been bringing this up with the other folks in the professional organization you're a part of, or to get feedback feedback for?
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
this is what you're experiencing, but what's everybody else experiencing too?
So the coaches have a Facebook group on where we all kind of like bitch and moan about things. And that's the best way to say it. So we all get on there and we complain about everything from dealing with, costumes and girls and drama and all that good stuff. And that's one of the things that people have been talking about because of this impending legislation, how they're going to either A, get around it, or B, comply with it in a way that makes sense. I think with those girls, it's just, for me, it's hard to get them to do anything that's outside of their cell phones. So, and I have there's a spring conference in April where all of the coaches for the ICTA get together. It's about 500 coaches, and my plan is to get a feel for if this is something that they would want and they would use. I know none of them are tech savvy enough to do anything like this for themselves. So, that's where I would probably do a lot of customer discovery within just my association. But I have a couple connections with the Iowa Girls Athletic Union who I would probably chat with as well and try to get some names to do some customer discovery there. Yeah.
Did you say that the girls weren't checking out the Facebook page?
No. Actually, I had one girl who told me she wants to deactivate her Facebook page, but she doesn't because we have stuff on there.
Okay, is there a reason? I mean, do they give you reasons why? You just
Their
won't-
grandparents and parents are on there.
Oh, okay,
They have completely abandoned Facebook.
okay.
They're on Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram now. But those aren't secured because I don't want the other dance team I'm competing with to be able to see my practice videos because it's a very competitive world. So if I can't post it on Twitter because anyone and their dog can see that. So, good question. Yes.
Well, I just was thinking about other applications like this. I think this would be good for like youth groups,
Yeah.
type things, or just really like Boy Scout troops, Girl Scout, really anything that involves kids where you want kind of a cover your ass policy
Right.
and make sure that you're not doing anything inappropriate or anything
Yeah.
like that, just so it's out.
Basically, if you work with kids and you're over the age of 18, you will need something like
Yeah,
this
exactly.
because you can't communicate with them otherwise.
So yeah, there's tons of applications.
Yeah, I think for me, I was thinking target high schools first because there's a lot of them, and they're going to be the ones who are hit first with this legislation because that's where most of the scandal is coming
Yeah,
from.
they're gonna be tracked the most too.
Yeah. Usually when you're under 10, you're still dealing with parents a lot, but I don't deal with parents unless there's a problem. For me, it's the parents are like, you're 16, figure it out. So,
Right, you simply want to wait for the parents to have the option to monitor.
yeah, if the parents want to monitor it, that's totally fine with me. I'm not doing anything wrong. Let me put that out there. Like, I'm not doing anything that needs to be monitored. But I think that for a lot of parents, a lot of times it's more of they just don't talk to their children or their children don't talk to them. So they'll text me and they'll be like, I have no idea what's going on, and neither does my kid, and I have to send them this big, long text message about everything that's going on over the course of the next 3 months. So if they could just check this app, that would be, well, first of all, ideal for me. I don't have to text parents because I really don't like to do that, and they don't have to text me.
So do you think the schools, I mean, you said you're a volunteer with a stipend, essentially.
Yeah.
Do you think the schools would pony up for this?
I think the schools would only pony up for it if coaches asked for it, and more than just one.
Because your catch is that once they're in, that's got to stay for however long is, it might be a 7-year commitment, it might be a 10-year commitment, it might be a 2-year commitment.
Right.
If they only use it once
Right.
for you to store the data
Right.
that long,
But-
and them to be able to, I mean, if it's supposed to be permanent, it's supposed to be permanent.
Well, my only question was, and this is a technical question that I don't have an answer for, would it be possible to do like quarterly downloads of the data, so like it downloads and dumps?
It
Because the AD just needs to have record of it.
And if that's the case, it certainly could, and then they, if they want to unsubscribe from your service or whatever, the release or whatever, if the AD gets a dump, it's their responsibility at that point.
Right.
And as long as they have it in their archive,
Right, because
absolutely.
legislatively, the AD would be responsible if anything happened, not the app. So it's not like we are responsible to,
Sorry, you just have to let the
AD.
We have to make it possible for the information to be downloaded at request. So if they suspect something, they can go download it and check all the
Yeah,
communication.
that absolutely would make sense. A potentially encrypted package download, and then at that point, it's the AD's.
It's the
It's
AD's
in
problem.
the AD's hand where they put it, if they
Mhm.
forget where they put it, if they
Right,
lose it, hard
Right.
drive goes away, whatever. And
right. But I have to check the laws to just make sure. Yes.
Have you looked into targeting a centralized location so you don't have to go to each of the schools individually, like the Idaho High School Athletic Association?
That's probably where I would start, actually. They have a fall and spring and summer coaching conference every year that I would probably try to get on as a speaker. Same with my dance team association. Like I said, we have 500 teams in the state, and I'm going to be a board member next year, so I'll have a lot of pull in that association. So my plan would be to go and essentially peddle this app at this event. So, yeah.
I was thinking like a way you could get kind of a whole school, like if you couldn't get a whole, athletic team, like you couldn't get all, you could sell it to booster clubs where every coach would want it. Then, if you could get 10 coaches in the school on board for, whatever different activities, go to the booster club.
Booster club is a great idea.
And then just,
Great idea.
sell it right to the booster club, say, hey, all your coaches need this, you guys support everything more or less.
That's a great idea.
Let's get this for everybody. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of, that's where your kind of wealthier people who, are,
And,
really want to be active and they might support,
Booster club is way easier to get to than high school administration.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Way
That way you
easier.
can get it school-wide, but
Smart.
you're.
I like it.
You're not going through the administration of the school.
That's very smart. I like it.
and
Do you still have to get administration approval?
No.
and
You wouldn't, so coach could.
At least in my school, no.
Okay.
They just don't want us texting, emailing, calling, or using Facebook.
we don't care what you do, just don't do anything.
Right. Don't do anything that's been blacklisted, basically.
It's
Do they provide a solution?
No. No. They said figure it out. So, no.
with the boosters, it'd be interesting too, because then they can advertise.
I know. I'm thinking that I love the booster club idea. I think that's brilliant. I hadn't thought of that because my booster club interaction is usually I'd like $5,000 to buy new uniforms, and they say okay, and then I'm done. So I think that way that would be very, very
Especially
helpful.
if you could get like 3 of the big varsity sports. If you could get
If I could get football, basketball,
and then
volleyball, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Then those 3 alone will sell it. So and
Right.
then you get a school-wide, or maybe per team price or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think what I had just as for now, me just thinking about things, $20 per month per team.
Yeah.
So $240 a year for one team. There's 24 teams at CF.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really not that bad considering how much money the booster club brings in.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it that way, because they'll look at that, or at least make it so that the subscription's per year anyway, because you
Yeah.
got a 3-month season, or a
Right.
4-month season.
Yes.
So then you're not gonna get $240 off a team, you're gonna get 60.
I think I would do a year subscription anyway because our basketball team, they practice year round because they're expected to do
Some workouts,
workouts all the time and watch game film all the time and
different camps.
yeah. For me, my sport's 11 months out of the year, so we take April off and that's it. So for us, it makes total sense to have a full year app, but there are definitely sports that don't have that.
And it's better just avoiding them trying to cut their costs by saying, well, our season's 4 months long, so
Right.
that's all we need.
I think I would do an annual model anyway because it's less headache.
Does it make a difference if you've got a dance team with 50 although I don't know, or a football team with 90 or 80 or 90 for your costs?
I don't know.
That you do it per user. I mean, I don't think your communication.
Here's what I would be afraid of with the per user thing. I would cut out my boys team, which is 35 users, and then I still haven't solved my problem. But I would end up trying to find ways around that. Team captains have it only.
So then your cost savings would be cut the.
Right. So I have 4 captains on the girls' team and 4 captains on the boys' team, and if I only had them 8, and then they were responsible to communicate to the rest of the team, because they can text each other. I just can't text them. So a lot of times what happens is I'll send an email to one of my captains telling them to message everyone.
You're right in that, 'cause that's absolutely what.
That's what I would do.
By the way, yep.
So I think for safety and sanity sake, just doing either unlimited users or like under 50, over 50 type thing. And then I would be tempted to be like, sorry parents, you can't have this because I don't want to pay for you.
Well,
Also.
I don't think your cost per user would change that much until you add in video.
Well, for video, my thought is to not actually host the video myself, but actually use like embedding from whatever their video source is. So right now I upload it to YouTube and I make it unlisted so it's not searchable, and then I share the link. So that's what I would encourage people to do, because I think that that's where my costs are going to go up, is if I'm hosting video. And if I take my video, my phone shoots in 1080p, so then it's a very large video, and then it takes up a lot of space. So my thought would be you upload it to your own YouTube and embed it within the app, would be my hope.
This could even be, well, I would say this would even be good for like small businesses. Like, I've got like 13 employees, and half of them, they don't have an email, or they've got phone numbers that they get subsidized somehow, and they change all the time because their minutes run out, and I can never get easy communication. And so it'd be nice to have something, centralized like this for a small business, where it's like, you need to check this for your schedule, because half the time I don't know if people are getting them or not, if they're gonna show up or not, because I don't know if they're,
In my
communication
mind,
method is updated.
when you're putting together this app for your team or your business or whatever, it'd be like, select the modules you'd like to have, because I don't need certain things that a basketball team might need, or that a track or cross country team might need.
Those become different versions of the
Okay, so it wouldn't, I don't know anything about apps, I'm just,
And it, maybe he knows.
This is not gonna be, I don't see this as being a static app you distribute on the phone. This is gonna be drawing lots of different data and account settings from a server somewhere.
okay,
So this is not gonna be, you're not gonna create probably one static version of, if you're talking about interchanging modules like that, it becomes less static.
okay, yeah.
So, if you check out like the Yahoo weather app, like Yahoo just does a great job. They basically say, here's my weather, my sports, my news, my finance, and then they're all centralized. Like, you can all get to them, but they just pop open another app. It sounds like that's similar to the process, whether or not you want to bundle it all into one or make
Yeah.
versions of each.
It just depends on what all you want to include and then figuring out how you want to
Right.
implement from there. But
Right. And all of those things that I listed that would be nice, I'm gonna go back to them. These are all things that I just was like, that'd be nice, that'd be great, super. Not necessarily things that the federal government cares about me having. So I think that, like 1 to some version of this.
You should throw healthy lunches in this and then just go talk to Michelle.
There you go. Yo, mama. So, but like music download, meh. Statements of billing, meh.
yeah, I would definitely narrow this down into your minimal viable product.
Yeah, this was like, that'd be super, but there's always like room for updates and expansion once we get something launching that's actually providing revenue. I didn't say this earlier, but I'm connected in with 3 different dance clothing companies. I know them personally, and I could absolutely spend a ton on advertising. So if this was a dance team app and they could have a little bar in the bottom, they would do that.
You could even do through sales too. I mean,
Yeah.
if you partner with some of those retailers, there's opportunity there.
Right. So there's a lot of those places that want to get the attention of those kids, because that's where the money is. They have their own money plus their parents' money. So if we could find a way to tap into that ad revenue to make it a freemium model, because I know a lot of coaches are not going to spend this money until they know this is a must-have. So that's why I think the freemium model is going to be important. Yeah.
2 quick thoughts. One, the chat feature still concerns me a little bit, because I just think it goes right back to where you're trying to get away from. So maybe we were talking like a bulletin board where everyone could see it. That might alleviate some of those concerns.
My only fear with that is, I'm going to address that really quick. Like, I have a girl whose mom's dying of cancer right now. So she messages me like, I'm going to my mom's chemo appointment today. I won't be at practice. It's not something she wants to share with everyone. So that's why I kind of wanted the chat feature, just because a lot of times there's private things that the girls need to say to me that they don't want to say in front of their peers.
Well, I don't know that team member to coach is a problem. I think that fits right in with what you want to do. It's team members for things that don't.
So, well, how about, for
Can you
example?
clarify that? Is it chat with everyone? Or is
No,
it
the
just
chat would be just private.
Okay, I missed that.
And then, I didn't explain that very well. The chat would be just private. The social wall would be more like, so my captains pick practice wear. If I could make them like admins or something, not admins, but like higher level people so that they could post on the board, that would be good. Because a lot of times they pick, hey, we're wearing pink tops tonight.
That's probably, that seems to fit a lot better.
So if I could have like 3 levels of user, like the super admin, the mid-level admin, and then just the plain user, then that would be probably ideal.
The other thing that would be kind of a cool feature we're talking about, at least for the small business side and probably for your students as well, is just some sort of letting you know that they actually saw it. Like, you know,
That would be, I love that feature on Facebook and their groups. It's like 10 people saw this, and it's great.
you
That
know,
would be very
they saw it
helpful.
As opposed to just whatever.
Right. And the push notifications would be really important too. Be like, you know, pushing right to their phones. Unless it's right in front of their face, their attention spans aren't big enough to actually go look for things. So
I think it's awesome. Though. The more we talk about it, the more applications come to mind. So
that's kind of how I feel. I feel like it's a cool idea. I feel like it's something that could actually produce revenue. I just don't know how to do it. So if anyone feels like building an app and wants to be a business partner, I'm totally open for that. So if anyone knows how to do that. Also, Patrick has already expressed interest too, so.
Have you thought about going up to like university level?
To hear? Oh, to like communicate with the university level?
Well, I mean, instead of going to the high schools where it doesn't seem like, it seems like money is definitely a little bit tighter.
Mhm.
I don't know, have you thought about that at all? Coming to like UNI's band?
Once you're out of high school, the government doesn't really care about you anymore.
Once you're not anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Sandusky though.
those are minors.
There are minors who still coach interacting at a camp.
With minors.
With minors.
I mean, how many
I think that there would be application on the college level, absolutely. I think that because of the impending legislation, schools will have no choice but to do something. So, because it's on the school
Yeah, sure.
if something happens.
Sure.
Because they are supposed to provide a solution, which they are not doing.
Universities have the same kind of liabilities though.
Yeah. Well, I think anyone who deals with students of any kind is going to have issues.
I think you should sell it to the White House for communication with interns. But
There you go, that too. Don't ever see those women in blue dresses, just text them.
It's going back fast.
Okay, so does anyone have any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have more ideas, I'd love to hear them. Feel free to come chat with me. Fill out my feedback forms. One more thing, I'm supposed to tell you about Bar Camp. Bar Camp is on the 21st, and it's going to be really cool. It's not like a conference you've ever been to. Basically, it's the most unconference conference you've ever been to. So please check out Bar Camp as well.
The URL is barcampcv.com. $5, and it's in this building.
And you get a t-shirt.
And free
Right.
beer, free beer Friday night.
And free beer Friday night.
Thanks next week.